Ah, before you turn this off, hang with me. I have had a number of people over the last months, especially, ask me this question. How can I have a reasonable conversation with a person with whom I have differences politically? And I know that we all feel it. We feel the tension, even with the question. Like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to do this. I have more important things in my life. Or maybe on the other end of the spectrum, you say, there's too much at stake. We can't not have this conversation. And believe me, I understand both sides of that equation. And so I've given a lot of thought to this. Like, how would I try and have a meaningful, ordinary conversation? Sure, maybe passionate, but how can I navigate all the challenges that seem to be part of a world that's super divided on this matter? So I've come up with the 4 C's of conversation about political matters. And I just want to suggest them to you as at least a starting place for how you might consider your own strategy for having this kind of conversation. So the first would be to center yourself. One of the things that I know I need to do is I need to center myself on what is most important. Right now, the temperature is so high and the volume is so loud, it can almost appear as though the political conversation is the most important conversation. And I just want to start by saying it's not. Now, I'm not saying it's unimportant, but I'm not sure. In fact, let me say that differently. I'm convinced that it's not the most important conversation. I know for myself that as a follower of Christ, that the more important matter is to reflect him rightly in the world and to put my trust in the work that he is doing in it. That's where I put my foundation. That's where I hold my place of trust. God is working. He is working through it all, whether it's through a person that I disagree with or even a person who seems to be at odds with the values that I hold dear. I can trust through the promise of Scripture that God is the one who is at work. And there's something really healthy for me, at least, to center myself right off the beginning at that point. Like he is still in charge and he is redeeming it all. Second, I find that it's helpful to clarify my convictions. So I start by centering myself on the fact that God is at work. And then second, to clarify what's the most important issue for me. Like not everything can be a 10. Like I can't say that I'm going to care about every matter of political significance. But there are certain things about which God has given me a particular conviction about that might be the place that I need to center my attention and to clarify that as my ultimate concern. So there may be 1 or 2 things within a political arena that are important to me. Like it may be part of a pro-life platform, or it may be about attending to the needs of the poor, or maybe it is about trying to bring economic renewal to a community or to a nation. Like I have to try and figure out what is my point of conviction that I need to spend the most of my time being concerned about, given the importance of political conversation in the first place. I don't have to enter every single conversation. In fact, I have found myself really helped by simply saying, you know what? I haven't thought a lot about that, and I don't really have a strong opinion. But tell me what you think. And there's something really helpful and disarming about being able to start that way. So I begin by centering myself, then I clarify my convictions, and then third, and this is the thing that I have had to really be careful about, choose the right platform. One of the things that can happen so quickly is we kind of have a knee-jerk reaction to something that happens in the culture, and we right away go to social media as the place to have a conversation. It's quick, it's easy, we can get the clickbait, and of course everybody then reacts to it and either likes it or hates it or whatever. And I have found that it's really important to say, you know what, maybe this conversation or this issue is not best addressed on the social media platform. Like maybe this works better over a cup of coffee, or maybe it works better as an article in Substack, or maybe I just need to do what I'm doing right now, and that is to create a YouTube video where I can elaborate on something that deserves a little nuance. So choosing the right platform, I believe, is part of the thing that's been missing for so many of people who are trying to have this conversation. They're not as strategic about the platform as maybe some of the other things. So I center myself, I clarify my convictions, what's really important to you, what has God called me to be about, and then choosing the right platform in order to have that conversation. But then finally, and I would suggest this is the most important piece, particularly for those who are from the Christian community, and that is to make sure I connect to the person. Like the relationship matters more than the particular position. If we're going to be honest about it, me as an individual, I'm going to have very little influence on what happens on some grand scale politically. But what I have some responsibility for, and maybe what God calls me to, is that there is a sphere of influence that I have, some people within a network that I can influence for good or well, obviously I don't want to do this, but I could influence them for evil. But I want to be able to be responsible with my network. And part of what it means to be responsible in that network is to protect the relationships within it. Like, are there really things on the political agenda that merit sabotaging meaningful relationships? Now, there are some people who might insist on that. Like, there may be some people who kind of come to a conclusion about certain political things where they say, I cannot relate to you if you hold that position. Well, there's nothing that I can do about that. But I don't want to be the one to create that kind of barrier. I don't want to be the one who says, look, if you hold that position, I can't have any conversation with you. I want to be able to do what I think Christ modeled so beautifully, is that even with people who had very divergent opinions, there was something about his character that wanted to win them over through the way he treated them. Now, not everybody responded to him, and some even responded harshly. But there's something about his disposition that wanted to protect the relationship because he saw the inherent value of every human being. And that's what I want to be able to do as well. And I believe that in a climate where there's so much political discord, like having a little strategy like this will help me to be part of the solution as opposed to being a bigger part of the problem. So center myself, clarify my position, choose the right platform, and then connect to the person, ensuring that I protect the relationship above all. Because Jesus himself said, there's only two really important commandments, and they're related to one another. Love God with all you have, and then second, love your neighbor as yourself. And that includes people with different political positions. And if we do that, we might have way more influence than we think.